Well, happy early Thanksgiving, even though now that I think about it, this may air very much after Thanksgiving, but happy Thanksgiving anyway. Today I am thrilled to have Kit Carlyle on the show. Kit and I, this was so crazy. My daughter and I went to Poland, as my listeners know, if you've listened before this podcast. And I met Kit in the hotel, and I knew she was my kind of girl when I just saw her walk by, and I don't know, just her energy. And we just started chatting, and she just has an amazing story. So I am not going to introduce her like I usually do my people. I am going to let her tell her story. So, Kit, welcome to the program. I know you're a bit jet lagged because you just got in from Lisbon. I will introduce that you are a digital nomad, and you can explain what that is. So, Kit, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Marla. I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you for asking me onto your podcast. I am
Sure.
absolutely honored. Well, I am an author and a coach, and I wrote a book called Ancient Healing in a Modern World, and it's basically the story of how ancient cultures, practices of ancient cultures, can help heal your body, your mind, and your soul. And I also have retreats that I take clients on, which is a wonderful joy for me to be able to give back based on my experience around the world and finding healing modalities that work, Marla. Prior to this, I spent a long time on Wall Street as an investment specialist in
Mhm.
the debt and equity realm for large commercial properties. So that was, I can only say that it's just dichotomous, the two,
Right.
going from this very energy driven, like hard energy driven career on Wall Street to what I do now, which is bringing out the best and highest in people in every way I can every day, whether we're in a retreat or whether it's through my book or whether it's through just speaking and consulting. So
Yeah.
I'm honored to be doing what I'm doing now, and very grateful that I was able to catch my life before I fell for good.
Yeah.
If
So
you know
how
what I
did that happen? Tell us a little bit about that
Yeah.
story that you made that
Well,
transition.
this is an interesting story. I always used to dismiss stress, that stress was, oh, I can handle stress. I can do this. It's not really stress. It's just a lot going on, right? And I was very, very driven. My basic energy is type A, get it done as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible.
Yes.
And I just kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing to prove myself in the world as well as to convince myself that I could do it. And I was working 18-hour days, commuting from LA to New York, living in New York, and then traveling to Europe for additional property acquisitions, negotiating deals, negotiating rates, negotiating financing, handling the debt and the equity, matching them so it worked, locking rates. It was the whole thing was absolutely nuts. And I thought, my mind said, "You got this. You've got this." But my body said something very different. And I ended up in the hospital twice, Marla. And I didn't know what it was. It was a very debilitating situation for me. I don't sit still well. I'm much better now that I've been through my journey researching for my book.
Right.
um, uh, but yeah, the first time, okay, got to get this hospital thing taken care of, right? Let's get me back on the road again. And that lasted for about a year or so, a year and a half perhaps.
Wow.
And then yeah, and then bang, again in the hospital for the same stress-induced illness that I had just been in the hospital for a year and a half prior. So, this second time I didn't do as well on the rehab. It was slower. It was and something just clicked, Marla. It was like, I'm going to take a look at myself, which was really scary to say. You know, I mean, I didn't want to be in the hospital again. I figured that I could power through it. I could get it done. I'll take whatever medications the doctors give me to keep me on my feet, right? Inherent wisdom told me that this is not the way to do it. This is not going to be in my best and highest for the future if I even make it that long. So I decided to leave that career and embark upon a journey to find cures for myself based in the wisdom, the knowledge, and the history of cultures that have done it for thousands of years.
Mhm.
And I figure, you know what? Humanity's got the answer. Nature's got the answer. I don't know that pharmaceuticals has the answer for me. I
Right.
could rely on them naturally, and they'll keep me walking, but it's only treating the symptom. And Marla, I realized that I really needed to take a look at not the symptom and treating that, but at the base cause. And that required me looking at myself and holding up a mirror and saying, okay, what's going on here? And boy, was
Yes.
not real. It wasn't an easy go. I can say that. Um, so I basically decided that I was going to take myself to far-flung destinations to learn how to be me without
Interesting.
the pressure of society saying, oh, you're someone's daughter, you're someone's friend, you're someone's head of a corporation, you're someone's whatever it is. I really didn't even know who I was without definition of the outside. And so that was the journey.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, when you started traveling the world, was there any specific country or aha moment that you knew that you were like on the right path because you had some transformative experience?
Yes, most definitely. And it sounds crazy, but I I took myself with my type A personality, okay, to Bhutan.
Yes.
Many people say, where is this located? And it's pretty crazy to get yourself so far away. I mean, did it have to be so far away? But of course, in my in my type A personality, I'm just going to get this done and it's going to fix me, right? And I went in with the same mindset, Marla, that got me into the situation in the first place, if you know what I mean. I
Yes.
hadn't found the humility. I hadn't yet found the gratitude. I hadn't yet found myself, and I wasn't at stasis. I am going to get this done. I'm going to trek for a month and I'm going to figure this thing out and then we'll be all good, right? So in that type A personality, I researched a guide that could help me with this trek, not only just leading the way along mountain paths, um, but also a guide that had experience in the Western world and who was living in the Eastern philosophy. So I did find myself a former lawyer from New York who left his career and left the Western world behind and said, I'm going to study Buddhism. And he had been doing this for 40 years. So
Perfect.
you're right. You're right. I couldn't get any better, Marlon. And so, of course, I went into I'm paying you this and you're going to fix me. Right.
Right, right.
Didn't quite work that way. He felt my energy coming like a bullet train at him, you know, and he said, stop. He told me to stop in my tracks, stop. And he said, do not come near me because you are a vexation to my spirit. I need to keep you at bay. Your energy level is not in alignment with mine, right? Nobody's told me that before. My gosh, I was the head of a corporation
Yeah,
with
you
60
were like, "What?
women.
What are you talking about?"
It was crazy. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm paying you how much to get me through this thing,
Exactly, exactly.
So so he said stop and he said He told me the rules, unless I'm dying, right? Don't speak to him. Don't say anything for 10 days.
Wow.
Yes, yes, Marla. 10 days. I needed to be without speaking to anybody. I mean, I could talk to the yaks. They were there, but they weren't. It's there's no conversation. And it was designed, it was designed to get me into a space where I wasn't in charge. I wasn't pushing. I wasn't asking. He couldn't be at his best and highest to assist me with my journey, with me pushing on him the way I used to do in my prior life.
Mm,
Mm,
interesting. Well, I know you said in Bhutan, these gifts of breathing and basic meditation opened an entirely new change of awareness that was nothing shy of life changing.
yes, yes, it is so true. And without words to use to express myself, I needed to go inward and sort of talk to myself, right? And as I was told initially that I couldn't speak for 10 days, I felt myself hyperventilating. This breathing pattern, right? I was very stressed because I hadn't had a lot of experience with not speaking
Yeah.
for, especially in an environment at altitude, where if something I needed something, but I knew the rules and I wanted to adhere to them. So what he did teach me from a distance, wouldn't get near me, was breathing and to
You just
focus.
watched him.
Yes. And he would, with his hands, he would tell me, inhale, and that he would raise his hands and then he would lower his hands. And I would follow his hands in the breathing pattern, right? Like this, up
Hmm.
and down. And it was not easy for me because we were at major altitude, Marlon. So it was hard initially for me to catch my breath. But as I was doing this and as I was not allowed to speak, I really found that there was this peace in watching his hands go up and watching his hands come down. And I thought, okay, I can do this. And we continued this. We sat for hours, Marla, just breathing. And the power of the breath is amazing. I had no
Hmm.
idea how much it can assist us or how it can work to our detriment, right? You're either in fight or flight or rest and digest. And this constant panting type of breathing that I had going on was just not good. So I really think everything really changed for me at that moment when
Interesting.
I released the control. I surrendered to what was rather than demanding a result. I was surrendered to what would be. And I just took that program and ran with it, not literally, but in a way where it's okay, all right, I can do this. And I'm going to allow myself that surrender into what ultimately became my greatest strength. Whenever, Marla, I'm worried or concerned or in an anxious situation, I focus again on the breath, and I imagine him raising his hand and lowering his hand in my mind's eye,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's really changed a lot for me.
Wow. It's just amazing that not many people would go off on an adventure like this, and it says a lot about who you are, deeply who you are. But to segue for a little, well, it's not really segueing, but
Mhm.
so let's talk about some of these different healing techniques
Mm.
around the world. And your book is just beautiful,
Oh,
and
thank
ancient healing in a modern world. So I'd love to talk about a few things, and if you could maybe elaborate a little bit. and then explain to me and our listeners what sorts of things they could do for themselves that, help in this process. So I know one of the things you love talking about were mineral baths and the mud. So can you talk about that a little bit, and where you were?
Ah, yes, yes. Okay. Mineral baths and mud. They are so here. I just say it and I go into this just healing vibration,
Right,
It
right.
really well, let's start with the Romans and the Greeks.
Yeah.
I mean, these practices of medicinal bathing have progressed through humanity for thousands of years. I've been honored to be able to visit the Roman baths in multiple locations around the world. Um, it's it's been said by everyone in these countries that legions of armies would go to these mineral waters and heal from battle wounds. It's written in texts, it's written in documents, and it's sort of a knowledge within those countries, that these waters really do work. And why? I want to know why. How did they know this? There's so much wisdom in the world from the
Mm,
ancients. It's just incredible. Skin, as you know, is our largest organ, and it absorbs everything to which we expose it, whether it's sun or lotion or water or mud, right? And and it's designed to protect us as well as to keep us safe, right? And it's very beneficial to immerse in mineral water and or mud, or put on mud packs, right? So that the goodness of nature, the fullness and richness of what Mother Nature has given us, these minerals and vitamins, and can be absorbed. And it's what I did learn in my journey, Marla, is that it's not a one and done. Of course, the type A personality that I
mhm.
was, it's like one and done. We're good to go, right? I got one bath under me.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Check that box.
Right. Check that box. Let's move on now. But in the ancient practices, and of course the wisdom of the ancients, it's the consistency of the activity that will heal us, that will
Right.
help us, that will elevate us. And at the same time, the consistency of things that do not elevate us can also have an effect, right? So, so choosing what we do with our skin and our bodies and our nutrition and our movement is so important. And so regarding the baths, I was just in Bulgaria with my husband, and we were like, there is Hisaria, and this is another area with, and each area in Bulgaria had different healing waters for different ailments. And it's brilliant, just
Yeah.
brilliant. One for skin or eczema or whatever, another for breathing, another for kidneys, another. I mean, there's about 70 of these beautiful healing springs. Well, we can't all go to Bulgaria or Romania or Germany or wherever these springs are. Maybe they are here in the United States. It's not always easily accessible. So what I always recommend, and I recommend it in my book, Ancient Healing in a Modern World, is to just find salts, whether it's Epsom salt, if you've got some aches, pains from exercise or other, put in some oils into the bath water, things that don't make you itch, of course, do a scratch
Right.
test first. and just and just enjoy. And if even if it's just sea salt, I recommend to go just get bags of sea salt and
Right.
pour it in to the bath, which is an absolute wonderful way of doing it. Another way of doing this is to actually collect mud. I know this sounds crazy, but collect mud from the earth, right, and mix it with salt, mix it with sea salt,
Mhm.
and sort of put it together and you can pack it on, whether it's a shoulder or a knee or a hip or whatever it happens to be. And you can also put it in the water. Not everybody has a bathtub where they can do that. So this is an alternative way of being able, it's a little messy, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
being a kid again, being able to play in the mud. It's a
Mm,
big deal.
I love that. Well, you have a lot of different suggestions and sharing experiences in your book, and I just loved it. I might go take a bath after we chat. But so I'd love to talk a little bit when you talk about, do you call it earthing? Is that the term you use?
Yes, that's the
Yes,
term.
earthing, and the importance of that for our children, and not only that, but also how it can help develop skills in them that will help them navigate as they get older.
Absolutely. You know, earthing is one of my favorite topics. And along with the bathing is earthing and the mud
Yes.
is earthing. And for children, it is crucial that they have earthing. And children's spirits are naturally curious and open to nature, right? They love to learn and to run about and to ask questions, and our children can greatly benefit by simply being in nature. And um, one of my favorites is the sand and the sea. Um, it's it's such a healthy environment. It has all those wonderful negative ions, and the kids, you could take the kids down to the sea, and it's like it's great. It's a whole day of fun, right?
Yes.
And they're playing in the in the water and walking on the beach, all of which is earthing, and they're finding shells, which I love that. They'll pick up a shell and they'll ask why. They'll see the beautiful sacred geometry within some shells and say, why does it look like this? Why is it curling this way? And why does it not grow that way? And why does it grow this way? And it expands their minds when they're able to pick up pieces of nature and ask questions and feel it while they're earthing, right? Watching the seabirds ahead and listening to them like a seagull's cry, and watching them sometimes battle for food.
Right.
It's why are they doing that? Well, you explain to them why they need to eat and how it's a competitive sometimes out there for food. And what I love the most, Marla, is watching children build sandcastles.
Mhm.
It's brilliant for their creativity to express themselves. And then they build these castles and then they find the shells, right? They go and find the shells and put them on top of the little turrets that they built, right? Or they'll make a heart with shells. Or it just is such a wonderful way of self-expression for children,
Yes.
right? Another one of my absolute favorites is just grass. Just grass. Just
Yeah, for those that can't get to the beach or live in
exactly.
the
If you're not,
city
if
or
you can't get to the beach, just walking on grass, whether it's dewy or whether it's dry, rolling in the grass, rolling down a hill in grass, which is
yes.
so
We
much
used
fun.
to do a lot of that, roly
Yeah, just
poly.
right. Isn't that fun?
Yes.
Especially freshly mowed grass. It's got that wonderful smell. Or picking, oh, I don't know if you remember when after grass is mowed, it's in piles. Oftentimes, there's
Oh,
piles
yeah,
of
I'm from Indiana. I'm very familiar with this.
there you go. There you go. So running and taking a flying leap into the piles of grass or
Yeah.
handfuls of it, and throwing it in the air. It's just this, it's so freeing,
Yeah.
right? And it teaches them that everything is okay. Everything is there to support their childlike nature and self-expression, which I absolutely love. I love that children teach us about appreciation for nature and how simple it is to be happy when
Yeah.
they're immersed in nature. I have a
It's such a gift for us too, I believe. Sorry, I interrupted you, but
okay. No, it is. It is a gift. Absolutely. They're teaching us every moment that we're with them. It's just
Yes.
incredible. In my retreat program, like it's called Regeneration Jumpstart. Marla, my goal is to bring this energy of childhood, childlike wonder and possibility of all things, right? Which I call through the eyes of a child. Like we're going to now embark upon through the eyes of a child. And it's an experience that brings us back to our 7-year-old selves, to those days of that the when you lose your breath,
Right, right.
what's that? And why is that? And it's such a beautiful way to go through life, full of wonder and possibility, just like it's like children. And I love doing this in a retreat program in beautiful countries with healing waters and healing mud and things that heal you. So it's kind of a double whammy for bringing the spirit energy, the childlike spirit energy back into our being while we're being nurtured in warm water or mud, services that support our physical well-being.
Mm,
It's really a gift, and I'm just so grateful for that.
yeah. So tell us about a day in the life of when you go on one of these retreats. Pick one of your favorites.
Oh goodness. It's well, from morning to evening, we're we're in activity if you choose to be. Of course, you don't need to be. The locations are geared so that you can go off on your own if you'd like, um, or you can participate in the I'm going to say they're energetic activities that bring us to our best and highest, and to really get to the core of the authenticity of our hearts, which I didn't know until I went on this journey and researched my book and wrote it. So we wake up, have breakfast, go into an activity, whether it's walking in the woods, whether it's rolling in the grass. It depends on the location, of course. Whether we start immediately with bathing or mud. We have group group activities that physically show the nature of relationships, the nature of our being in with respect to our worlds, and we help each other through communication and support. And the most important thing is that it's a safe place, so everybody um, must agree that it's safe. There's no attacking, when somebody speaks up or they can't do an exercise or they choose not to do an exercise. It's always warm and accepting. We'll bike ride through vineyards in Italy. And there is wine tasting if you choose to go. If you don't drink, you can go and just look at the vineyards and, and
Mhm.
enjoy, the beautiful views. Going to see where your mud is coming from, actually, in Italy, which is a lovely experience. And then we come back in the afternoons and have lunch, which is amazing. And then do an additional set of activities or treatments. So it really depends on the groups. I try to keep them small so we don't lose track of who's where and what's going on, and where they go, and it's usually an even number of people so that we can partner up and assist each other in any way possible. It's really um, it's a way to get back to that child within that might not have been heard for years and years and years, and sort of pushed behind a mask that we all use in order to deal with the world outside as we get older. So it's really play. It's play, it's great food, it's mineral water, mud, sound therapy, gong therapy. I love sound baths, Marla. They're just transportive, depending upon the location. We work with the nature of the location that we're in. And my two favorites are Bulgaria and Italy for different reasons. So and then in the evenings we'll have discussions, right? And typically you can go off and do whatever you like. If we're near a major cities, go into the city, of course, if you like. You choose to participate at whatever level you would like. And
Wow.
right.
It
I
sounds
think that everybody would stay, but it's really a fun program.
it sounds wonderful. Well, and even for those who cannot do something like that, to read your book and get all of these beautiful ideas of how to nurture oneself,
Right.
at home, just on their own. So, Kit, your life has done a 180 for sure, if not a
Ooh.
three six. Well, it would be a 180, I guess. So, tell us how has Kit Carlisle changed?
Oh goodness. Hmm,
What would
well,
your husband say?
yeah. I don't think he would have liked me back then very much.
Oh, so you didn't know you then.
I don't think I even liked me. I was a Marla, what I call is a human doing, not a human being.
Mhm.
I was in the constant activity of must get it done to prove myself. And now I'm in this sort of equilibrium of flow with the universe, with the field, with this the ebb and flow of the energetic that we all have access to, which is amazing if we allow ourselves. So I've gone from really, really hard type A to a softer, softer sort of human being, just much more present in the moment, um, much more aware of who I am and in my relationship with others and with the earth. And I'm much happier and I'm not sick anymore, which I think
Yeah,
is right there, right? I'm so grateful for that.
absolutely. Wow. Well, you are a wonderful example and inspiration for for all of us to
Oh, thank
really look inside, look at our lives and think about not only can we nurture ourselves, but when we do those things, we become a light in the world for others.
That's right.
And that's so important.
I if I could add to that light, love
Absolutely.
this. I love what you said, Marla. Um, a candle doesn't lose any of itself for lighting another candle.
Mm,
So if each of us is a light that can light another, right, then there's more illumination in the world. And it
yes.
adds to the group consciousness of up leveling our planet and the human experience while we're here.
Mhm. Very well said. So, Kit, if you could take a walk with your 6-year-old self, what would you say?
Oh, goodness. I would say, Marla, um, believe in yourself. Believe. Don't believe what other people tell you about yourself. Believe in who you are. Um, Listen to your heart. If your heart says, this isn't right for me, listen and don't be pushed into something else, right? Because somebody else wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
And most importantly, be fully self expressed. If you feel an emotion, use your words, use your words. And express, I'm feeling this, and and be heard. Make certain that you're heard. And that's important. To hear our children is so important. It's they speak not always with their words, but with their eyes and with their actions and with their body language. And
Hmm.
it's important for children to express, and for those around that are guardians of our children. It's a gift to be a guardian and to listen with their hearts to what the children are saying in
Yes.
every way possible. So that's what I would say to my 6-year-old self. I wish I could go back and do that, actually.
Yeah. I think they'll too.
Yeah.
Well, Kit, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And if people want to learn more about you and get a copy of your book and check out your retreats, how would they do that?
Oh, thank you, Marla. Thank you for having me. You can go to my website, which is kitcarlyle.com. You can pick up a copy of my book there on the website, as well as take a look at the retreats. It's under the my favorite places experiences. It's called Regeneration Jumpstart, and there's an intake form there. If you're interested, just fill it out, send it in, and we can have a conversation. And
Wonderful.
so thank you. Thank you again, Marla. I am so
You're
honored to
so
be.
welcome. I'm so excited that we met one another in Poland, and it was meant to be for sure.
It was
Yeah.
divinely guided. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that.
Hopefully I can go on one of your retreats here
Oh,
soon.
I'd love
Well,
that.
thank you so much. And you get some sleep. I know you're a little jet lagged, but
Thank
stay up as long as you can and then
I will do that.
get
Thank
some
you
sleep.
so
And
much.
hopefully I'll see you next time you're in California.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Marla. Have a
Thanksgiving.
wonderful
You
Thanksgiving.
too. You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.